The meaning behind her silence. When a woman goes silent, it's rarely just because she has nothing to say. Silence, for many women, is a form of expression. It's how they protect themselves when words might come out too sharp, or when they feel unheard, misunderstood, or emotionally drained. According to a relationship study by the Gottman Institute, one of the biggest predictors of relationship satisfaction is how partners respond during emotional withdrawal. And often, women withdraw not because they want distance, but because they want peace. Her silence can mean she's processing something that hurt her. It can mean she's tired of repeating the same conversation that never seems to change. It can even mean she's testing to see if you notice her quiet, not out of manipulation, but because she wants to feel that her emotions matter. Think of it this way. Silence is her way of catching her breath. When emotions run high, words can feel too heavy or risky. So instead of exploding, she retreats into quiet, hoping that in that space, things will make sense again. Now, let's be honest. Silence hits men differently. Most men are wired to fix things. When something's wrong, we want to talk it out, find the problem, and get to the solution. But when a woman goes quiet, it can feel like she's shutting us out or punishing us. That's not always true. It's just that emotional communication looks different. Psychologists often talk about how men and women deal with conflict differently. Men tend to externalize. They want to act, fix, or respond. Women, on the other hand, internalize. They feel deeply and process quietly. So when she's silent, she's not necessarily being distant. She's probably sorting through her feelings, deciding if it's safe to share them, or maybe just waiting for you to show that you care enough to notice. The discomfort you feel in that silence isn't a bad thing. It's a sign you care. It's your mind saying, something's off. And that's your cue, not to panic, not to walk away, but to slow down and pay attention. The power of emotional space. Sometimes her silence isn't a wall. It's a bridge being built slowly. She's creating space to breathe, to calm her emotions, to make sense of what's really going on inside her. And that space can actually be healthy if we understand it the right way. In a world where everyone rushes to respond, silence can be a sign of emotional maturity. It's her way of saying, I don't want to make things worse by speaking out of anger. When she chooses silence, she's often choosing peace over chaos. But here's the tricky part. If her silence goes unnoticed for too long, it can turn into distance. She might start to feel unseen, unimportant, or even emotionally alone. So it's important to acknowledge the silence, even gently. Something as simple as saying, I notice you're quiet. I'm here whenever you need to talk, can go a long way. It shows care without pressure. It turns silence from a wall into a doorway. When silence speaks louder than words, you've probably heard that phrase before, but in relationships, it's more real than most people realize. Silence can tell you when she's hurt, disappointed, or even losing faith in the connection. Studies on communication show that up to 70% of our emotional understanding comes from nonverbal cues, tone, expressions, body language, and yes, silence. When she stops arguing, stops explaining, stops even trying to make you understand, that's not peace, that's resignation. That's her saying without words, I've said everything I could. And that kind of silence is dangerous because it often means she's emotionally checking out. But the good news is silence can also mean she's hoping you'll step in. It can be her way of saying, I need you to see me without having to spell it out. And when a man responds with patience, empathy, and real attention, that silence slowly breaks, replaced by trust and understanding. Now let's talk about how we handle it, because this part matters more than most men realize. When she's silent, the worst thing we can do is mirror it out of pride or frustration. Ignoring her silence doesn't make it disappear, it deepens it. The best way to respond is with calm curiosity. You don't need to force her to talk or demand an explanation.
Sometimes the right response is just presence. Sit beside her. Let her know you're there. A gentle, "I don't have to say anything right now, but I'm here if you need me," can melt walls faster than any argument could. And yes, it might feel awkward, but that's where connection grows. In those quiet, honest moments where you both choose to stay instead of walk away. When we give her the safety to be silent, without judgment or pressure, she'll eventually open up. And when she does, listen, not to fix, but to understand. That's what turns silence into strength.
The deeper message behind her quiet moments. There's another side to this too. Sometimes a woman's silence isn't about conflict at all. Sometimes she's just overwhelmed. Life gets loud, responsibilities pile up, emotions mix together, and silence becomes her escape. In those moments, her quiet isn't a signal of anger, it's a call for peace. She might just need a moment of stillness where she doesn't have to explain herself or carry the emotional weight of everyone else. Women often carry invisible burdens, thinking about everyone's feelings, remembering small details, managing things silently. So when she goes quiet, it might be her way of refilling her energy. As men, recognizing that difference between hurt silence and healing silence is powerful. One needs care and communication, the other just needs patience and space. But there's something we can't ignore. When silence lasts too long, it can slowly build walls. The longer it goes unacknowledged, the harder it becomes to break. According to research from the University of Washington, emotional withdrawal in relationships is one of the strongest predictors of breakup or dissatisfaction. So if her silence becomes frequent, or if conversations always feel one-sided, it might be a sign she's feeling disconnected. That's when it's important to talk, not just about what's wrong, but about how to reconnect emotionally. Ask how she's been feeling, what she needs, and how you can make things better together. Relationships thrive on communication, but they survive on understanding. And understanding begins with paying attention, even to the quiet moments. The beauty hidden in her silence. Here's something beautiful about a woman's silence that often gets overlooked. It's a form of emotional strength. It takes control to stay quiet when emotions are boiling. It takes patience to pause instead of explode. Her silence can hold wisdom, calm, and depth. Sometimes she's not shutting you out, she's protecting the relationship from words that can't be unsaid. She's choosing silence over storm. And that choice, in its own way, shows care. If we learn to listen, not just with our ears, but with our awareness, we'll start to notice the small cues hidden in that silence. A look, a sigh, a stillness, they all tell stories. And when we respond with kindness, her silence becomes something safe, not something scary. So, bringing it all together, at the end of the day, understanding a woman's silence isn't about decoding a mystery. It's about paying attention with heart, not just with logic. It's about realizing that communication isn't always loud or clear. Sometimes it's quiet, deep, and full of emotions that words can't capture. When a woman falls silent, it's not the end of communication, it's the beginning of an opportunity to slow down, to understand, to connect on a level beyond words. And when we handle that silence with care, we don't just earn her words back, we earn her trust. So, next time she goes quiet, don't rush to fill the space. Don't get defensive. Just be present. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all.